Hey people, part one of this looked like this, who was James William Bottomtooth. And I'll put them all in a folder so they be found. But it's the end, this is the last three lines in these letters of Colossians. And he was ripping on the king, like somebody with the Agnes teeth. It's where this word, the proagnathism, comes from, and that's the sheep or the lamb right there, the agno. And it looks like this, and it was caused from the king's inbreeding. And so it was saying that they were also, they were the head of the churches, and they were misleading the people. And so this next line, it rips on him a little bit harder, and it confirms what that says. And then at the end, it'll give us a clue to his name. And if we go back to the heading on the first letter, then it'll give us a better idea of who was writing this letter. The huge clue here, there is no "the" between Godfather. They had to meritoriously add that in there. So in this line up above this, you see the word for brothers is edel foes, and it means edel, a worthy enemy. And so all these guys went to the same school in order to read each other's writings. But this is W-E, and then the line says, come back and read this, Eta Pi Peti. And so it says three different things here, and two of them are the same. W-E-E is happy to, T-A, happy to, Pi Peti. A pi is the mouth, and pati is little. We happy to a little mouth. And if, the pi petit translator translate that one right. You see here, pi petit. You tasted, the pie, the mouth, little. You just got a little bite. But this is also wheat for ein, to know. And it's also a stretch of vita. Vita as in life, but of vita, of good life, that tastes a little. And then the mark says read the O, so it's of the sweet life, a little, to taste a little of the sweet life, and then of, and then archippo. And so archippo, that's the head horse, the arch, the top, in hippo. A hippo is a horse. And you can see there's no US on there, they just give it that. But that's where this word comes from. The horse ruler, they'll say the arch, the top, and the hippos, the horse. But actually, the hippos is not a horse. The hippos is the horse of, the hippo, the horse of Potamus, the river. The hippopotamus is the horse of the river. It's not just the horse river, the horse of the river, hippo. So O is of. And so this is also just the W-E, we, Oedipi, the home of the Oedipi chapter of the Great Circle, the Oedipis. But this is Oedipi Patty of the Little Circle, in tight quarters. The small circle, your small circle of friends. Of the head, horse, and then backwards, aperture. The horse aperture. An aperture is an extension, an arm, a leg, a head. We Oedipi petty of arch hippo aperture. And then read this P as an F here. Believeth in. Believe in, believeth in. Diconian. Google won't translate this Diconian, but di is through, and the con, that's your Hebrew word for the priest, the con man, and yon is the day. But if you separate this A-N, it'll give you a deacon. If you just take the N off of it, it'll give you the ministry, and that's through the Kanya, the ones that's going to con you, the ministry. And so the diconi, through the con make on is the ministry. the beliefeth in through Kanya on. Take heed to the ministry. And then the line says to read this HNH, and it's on. HN is divide cycle, and it means on as in a time. But it's on apparel, HPARELAVES, on apparel of is, what it's wearing, that it's dressed up as, on apparel of is. We edipi pedi of arch hippo aperture. The arch hippo aperture, there's a horse aperture of a Pegasus up there, and there's a horse aperture, a Sagittarius. And the belief within the Diconian, the through Kanya on, and then on apparel of is, on apparel, the wearing of the of is, and then VN, as this reads, a BN or VN, NE is B or V, and then back this way, N, on apparel of is of in. And then this word for the carry-o, the lower, it spells a bunch of different ways. And I figured this one out. This is to carry. On apparel of is in to carry. And then the oyer, O-I-R. This oyer comes from the oyer in terminer, as in determiner, the one who determines. And the oyer is to hear and determine. It's a judge is what it means, a court authorized to hear certain criminal cases. Oyer, to hear. A hearing a civil case, which based on the content of a document in which a plaintiff is required to produce the document. And in the old French, they would have just spelt this, the O-I-R, the oyer. And from the Latin auder and audio, to hear, to hear. Oi is a call used to attract somebody's attention. And so the oyer is the one it's intended at. So somebody who's part horse and part man, that's the ancient word for the senator, the senatorus, senator. And so if a senator was hearing a case, that would be your senator. And so this is a letter to his senator. And then Vav is and, K, and then come back and get the O, K-O, company. The belief within the Diconian on apparel of is, of in, the ones wearing the Diconian apparel, to carry the oyer, to carry the hearing and co, and company, in any, on it, within, plurigis. This could be the co and company, or K-O-I-N. They all get their picture on the money. And on the oyer, to hear, to the coin, any, on it, within, plurigis. P-L-E-R-O. And then the wave says move the O over, so it's J-O-S, in plurigis. Pluro, coming from the Latin plurus, meaning most or almost all. And jus, add to nouns or adjectives forming adjectives pertaining to or belonging of, which would be the same in most other languages, from the Latin justum, meaning under, beneath, or below, containing all under. Romanian, down, sub, under, low down. And so that gives it better meaning. We edipi pedi of the little mouth of the arch horse aperture. And so it's the horse with the little mouth, with the man's head, the senator. Believeth in the Diconian on apparel of is, of in. The Diconian, to apparel of, to dress Diconian, like the priest, like the ministry. To carry hearing, to coin any, on it, within, all under, plurgis, all under. And so the clue, in this Cario, the way that it's got many different spellings, and they chose this one because it's the French spelling. And so most all this line here is in French. And it's of, and then some saps, a spasmaz. And spasmaz is French for a sudden involuntary muscular contraction, the contraction to a sudden brief spell of inactivity. Oh, some saps, a spasm as. And then with the markings, this is reading that, the, THT, TH, and then HM. That, them, and then Helma, them bleed. Oh, some saps, a spasm as. That, them, Helma, me, them bleed me. Sherry Paulo. Sherry is dear. But it's not Dear John, it's Dear Paulo. And, Apollo is the sun. But it's also, I told you, Paul is where your police comes from. A P-A-W-L is what police is, the spool, the Paul of. And you can see it in the Greek, the Paulos, a small cetacean, a stopper. From the Greek, the Paul, the Paulo, to stop, or a little or small. And the Hebrew, the po, as in to propagate a call for support. Help, police. It's also where your word pause come from. The P-A-U, is to stop. You crank and then you pause, and the paw takes a brief moment while you're resetting. Of some saps as spasm as that them hem of me, them bleed me. Dear Paula. And then the M is from Nemon Vet. From Nemo on Vet. Nemo, that's your Latin word for nobody, no name. The Nemo. And on Yvette. Yvette is the woman of life. And from the unnamed woman, Yvette, the living one, coming from Eve, meaning life, which wasn't Hebrew, which is actually come from Sanskrit. Yvette, a primary female name, meaning you or life, you, the yew tree. And Nemo, coming from the Latin, no man. And so, Apollo is the sun, but the A is a negative. And so without the A, it's the Paul of. And so the paw, the stop, lu, the stop it. And so Apollo is when the sun shines, and Dear Paulo is when stops it. And minimum on Yvette, minimum, a little bit of Yvette, a little bit of life. And moi, French for me, moi, me toten, desmomen. That's where your word decimate come from. Decimus, to kill, destroy, the decimus. And it's also, the 10th month, the deci, the December. This is in the age of Pisces, so this is when Sagittarius was the 10th month. 10, 11, 12, 1. When the sap's running back down to the stump, all the sugars that were in the leaves are coming back down to the root. The minimum Yvette, the minimum life, moi, that I'm toten, T-O-T-N, the toten, decemum on, O-M-N, amen, decemamen, the December. He cherish, met, M-E-T, the meth is with, he cherish with, to, and then mom, U-M-O-M, the wave has you move the M over to mom, and Mom Namu, Nomu. Namu, the mother of all gods, primeval goddess, mother who gave birth to the heavens and earth, and the Godfather, On. And these brackets here mean that this wasn't in all the Bibles, and it's read backwards first, the name, Amen, amended. And so they'll tell you that Amen means truth, from Hebrew, truth. But it's right here, the cycle to divide from. The cycles, the name of the gods change as the time changes. And so the cycle to divide from, amended. It means that these writings have been amended to fit the cycle of time we're in. So altogether, what on a tooth, on a agnostic song, on a parvum hymn, I much helitsi pipistola poesetta. The people believe the poem in any event that the Leo Dicon, the people to dick on, to dictate on. His cackle has Jessia, Jaysh is the word for permitted. That's your word for Jesus, what you're permitted. You went to church and you heard about what you were permitted to do. His cackle has Jessia. Locale hath on Agnos teeth, so nagging of within, like Leo dick they as, like the people to dictate, to dick they as, in any, to whom I see 'em, we totin', gonna nag note, we to pi petit, of Archippo aperture, believeth in Diconian, on a peril of his, of in carry oyer, to coin any on it within plurojus. Oh, some saps as spasm as, that them hema me cherry polo. Minim on evet, moi, toten desiam. Like in him, you don't pronounce the final N. It's there, that means cycles, you just don't pronounce it. The decimam. He cherish myth to mom noma. Name amen. So I was at the Mexican joint last month, up at the bar, and there was a preacher just happened to be sitting beside me. I was telling him that I was having to study astrology in order to understand this, and he said astrology is of the devil and there's no astrology in the Bible. But this here was 100% about astrology. It's not has anything to do with people. All the stories of people have been created just to cover up the astrology. They didn't want people to have a clue what any of this was about. And so they removed all the astrology from the Bible, which is impossible because it's a book about astrology.
Don't forget, I won't forget.
All right, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.